Among the naked shuttle loaders, you got me, Quentin Jackwright, reformed nudist, honorary chaplain with a magic carpet. Wait, why the fuck did I completely ignore that UFO? Oh yeah, I was too concerned with deciding what my no-rod will be. But where is it, Goon? All I see is an unsatisfied wife-sized wardrobe filled with ridiculous outfits. My choice was to go dressed as the mechanic that looks like he'd rather master a dungeon than let a car ride his face. I also must admit that I'm lacking my usual chainsaw hand bravado, so please don't introduce me to your dad. Well, even in a soft palm state, I guess I'm still better than a man who chooses to scatter his own remains by ripping a fart on a Bible. You could shit on religion all you want, but don't be surprised when you start seeing ghosts. I just so happened to catch that guy's gas like secondhand smoke, causing me to be the one who gets haunted by a weird kid's best friend. When I punched this threat, it retaliated by glaring me to the floor faster than a fierce puppy who needs to be tamed with pets, though it disappeared before I could crush it.
Chasing rabbits.
Back to dealing with the guy who exploded all over my chapel. I was hoping the janitor could wash away the filth for me. Unfortunately, this motherfucker didn't even know how to use a cleaning grenade. If you truly don't know how to do something, then revert to a dumb baby. Get on your hands and knees and lick that mess up. Now apply that to anything you were trying to learn. If you're impressive enough, then a man in Happy Meal armor might show up to give you slip-resistant sandals. Someone of your stature wouldn't let a little oil spill keep you away from the beach, so why would you let piles of blood bring you down? You need to go out, find the right guy, and get those flip-flops thrown at you. With Jesus on my feet, I could now confidently walk up to anybody and demand what I want. Hey, take him to church, is what I told this dude dragging a body around. He wants to go. But an injured man needs to be med-bayed. I wasn't about to listen to reason. This guy is dead. God wants him. Although me and my higher-up were not on the same page, I couldn't let God's lust ruin my space of worship. I only want alive people in my church. You can have them. Thank you for your cooperation. Service was over. After work, I slid right into my habitual bush shaking until I turned a leaf into a bottle of pills. You never know what you're getting from these drug dealers, so it's best to let the hot dog in the bar be your tweaker guinea pig. Dear God, help! There's too many! I'm getting overwhelmed! That dog was overdosing on cats. A cat pill to be exact. I passed one to the bartender, and of course he slipped it in my drink. The trip began with meows, and I started feeling like a scratching post for alien pusses. Eventually, the barman joined us in the litter box, somewhere you could snort toxoplasm for free. I think he really enjoyed himself. The never-ending party continued on because that's what it does. No one is ever invited, yet all of us misfits with nothing better to do managed to meet up and fuck ourselves over one way or another. Personally, I ruined my shift by getting addicted to these visuals. Nothing else excited me anymore, just this. Hell, even watching security get firebombed couldn't give me a tenth of a chub. I used to love seeing that. What's wrong with me? Maybe I needed to disrobe, throw on a fresh hat, and walk around with an unloaded gun. That might be enough to keep me sober. Or I could use this hallway leg to teach that rookie janitor from earlier a lesson. Hey, you missed a spot. What? I was using a stranger's foot to stomp out a standing man, meaning I'm not generating the force of a true stomping, but at least I was doing some type of damage. When I dropped the leg and the janitor ditched the mop, we had ourselves a fair brawl. The implied contact seen in fights looks like two whores spitting on each other. Having sped up sound effects helped shape that slutty narrative. A conclusion came after some knockouts on both sides. Still, I was the one to stutter out a truce for a fight I started. I had passed out. When I woke up, I was in the arrival shuttle, surrounded by old friends. All of these pals proceeded to jump into my mouth, and I only nodded off once during the process. 4 of those good old pills came to visit, and I thought my high tolerance had made the wonderful kitties vanish. Nope, just took a bit longer to kick in. Yep, I've peaked at the mountaintop, and I'm still chasing those cats, until a countdown to when you'll get your dick sucked out into space interrupted me. Once I resurfaced, I became a controversial talk show host. I'm now known as the Mo Logan Experience. I may have joined late into the shift, but it was still morning for me, so I put on a Ghetto Boys record to get the station moving. Wow, I already had a fan who wanted to meet me. All it took was one song to get a fanatic to grab me by the neck and hold me close. While being choked, I welcomed my guest to the experience. He had pricked me with some shit that got me high and sick, plus all he wanted to do was beat on me, which makes him the perfect junkie boyfriend. However, this man was no fan. In space reality, he was a ling. Duh. Ha ha. Put space in front of a word for a big laugh. Let's keep going with that. This slippery ling lolled his way onto his own space pod. His next notable feat was playing patty cake with an innocent civilian on the arrival shuttle. The Ling had a confirmed total of 9 bodies, which gained him a lot of attention, forcing him to retreat to his limousine in order to avoid the paparazzi. He took his fame into dangerous areas when he morphed into the genitals doctors have to battle during a sex change. In this particular procedure, her butcher was this notable security guy that wants him dead. The operation was a failure for the changeling. Security had caught him in the darkness and shoved him in a porta potty cell. Just like anything portable, it could teleport. Thus, the imprisoned Ling got a seat on the emergency shuttle. Alright, I'm gonna do one of those Kinshi challenges by paying $5,000 to have no legs. Of course, when I chose to do this, I got selected to be a changeling. This happened right after that previous round where I got killed by a Ling, so this is the system's way of paying me back. I was also granted a floating grace period before I came crashing down. Luckily, a lizard janitor was there to pick up my crippled pieces. I then combined the wheelchair with the Santa hat to garner all the sympathy. Rolling around now, I took my legless ass to the gym, where I was harassed by a purple guy who spoke with Pootie Tang language. I couldn't understand him, so I spit acid on his face. He just stood there chilling as his mask and hat melted off. His submissiveness allowed me to drag him into my lap, but once he felt I had no boner, he smacked me out of my wheelchair, reducing me to a crawler. I avoided being stomped out by stinging his ankles with LSD and neurotoxins. It would have been my first victim if it wasn't for a nosy Borg that wanted to heal him. I had to try again. On this go around, I opened with the toxic sting on this distracted saxophone player. We then ventured into the bathroom together where I had him snoring out Z's in front of a toilet, though a bystander broke us up. I told the Good Samaritan that I was a handicapped man getting his ass beat, which was true. I just left out the part about me being a changeling. Back to the DNA hunt. I'll take whatever I can get. When I went back to my nest, I had prey right there, killing cockroaches for me. Though before I could make my move, the station had a sudden clogged artery put a barrier between me and that fucker. Meanwhile, I found someone else that wanted a taste of my lean cocktail. Things were going swell until some asshole stairs got in the way. My slip and fall gave this drooling bastard a chance to escape. Dude either launched himself into space or safety. I don't know where that cannon shoots you. Shortly thereafter, that red line had cleared up and I still had my hostage. He followed me into the kitchen under the guise that I needed help cooking. Finally, I had someone alone and in my own domain. GOON's population density wasn't going to bail him out. After a very squirmy struggle, I came out on top. Gotta get rid of that body, but I didn't have a ramp to the disposal unit, so the typical locker coffin was going to have to be his final resting place. Hoy! I'm trapped! Well, fuck me, I got another fly in my web. Same strategy as before. Get my targets sick and give them a speedy beating. I'm clueless as to why I didn't grab a knife or something. This took way too long. I'll give myself credit for at least killing the guy prior to trying to fill the kill meter, because it's rather difficult when dealing with an alive one. Afterwards, I took an AFK piss and got an offer I silently refused. When I arrived back, an explosion just barely missed me. How exciting. Look, out the window. It's the guy from the bathroom. Sadly, he didn't want nothing to do with me anymore. Forget about him. I have an adult trick-or-treater on my back porch. I treated him like the others, with acid to the mask. Right before he night-night asked him how the light felt. Poor Skelly got tapped out in maintenance while a butterfly watched. It took a couple of attempts for me to fill up that neck, but I got him dead. Even had a witness mind his own business. I brought Discount Godzilla's corpse back to the kitchen. As I squeezed the final drop of DNA out of him, the only security guard in the whole station happened to stop by. The Ling word was out. Let the raid begin. I thought I had 3 cops rushing in to arrest me, but I think 2 of the guys were there to fight each other. Regardless, I hit the panic button by turning into that beautiful abomination. Still, I had no legs. Yeah, I have no idea what the Changeling Strike Force was doing, but whatever it was they were doing, it was to each other, and not me. I was fine until that security officer showed up, right when my ugly powers wore off. I wound up in another man's possession. He tried to trash me, but in the process trashed himself, giving me the opportunity to skate away on my recently grown leg. The security officer got a hold of me again. I didn't know my options, so I turned into a monkey. As the lesser form, I was taken to a conveyor belt where if I stayed on it, I'd be crushed. The person who took me here almost fell in themselves. Then the door closed on them, granting me a go over here card. My crawl to freedom led me back to evolution. Then back to the dinosaur age. Thankfully, a kind gentleman returned me to the wheelchair stage as well. I had survived, scoring a 3 out of 10 on my antagonist exam. Now you should probably go study someone who isn't a failure.
Jesus Christ, I pulled a parasite out of my nose!